Hi, it's Russ Sallow here, and today I'm sitting with Ben Stewart, CEO, President, Founder of Canadian Property Stars. Ben, thanks for taking a few minutes to sit with me.
Appreciate you coming over.
My pleasure. So this kind of a thing is pretty informal, like we've been talking, we're going to continue on. People that read my blog, people that look at the videos, they're interested to figure out, GPS tracking, is it for me? Why do other people do it? How did they view it? How did they make that decision? And also I'm going to, as we talked about, I'm going to ask you a bit about your philosophies of business, because I think a lot of the people that look at my videos and the people that are managers, owners, they're always curious about people that are successful. How do they do what they do?
Okay.
All right. So you're Ben Stewart, and the company again is called?
It's Canadian Property Stars.
Canadian, and what's your website?
www.canadianpropертystars.com.
.com, the big .com, very nice. How long have you been in business?
Started my landscaping company in 1996 in high school, grade 11.
Yes.
Started like a lot of guys do with their dad's minivan, a push mower, cutting lawns in the neighborhood, and over a span of a few years grew it into one of the larger companies in Ottawa, and since that time I've expanded into across Ontario and now pretty much coast to coast in Canada.
Do you have your sights set on the United States as well?
We're looking to move our model down there in 2014. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're working towards that right now.
You've got it planned out. Now I'm going to read some of my questions so I don't forget.
Sure, not a problem.
Now, when you started looking at the idea of GPS tracking, I know we called on you, but had you been thinking about using GPS as a control? Were you looking for a new way of, affecting the bottom line? What was it that caused you to think about, yeah, I need this?
Well, when I first started my company, I had a Ford Ranger. I had 43 cents a liter. Was the gas prices that year.
Those days.
The good old days, right?
Oh my Lord.
In 2008, it jumped up to $1.38 a liter.
Wow.
At that point, since driveway sealing is our summer service, the costs associated with anything petroleum-based went through the ceiling.
Right.
And that summer, it appeared, based on how I was running my business, no matter how many sales I made, I wasn't making any money on those sales. And because again, we drive vans all day and we spray sealant all day.
Yes.
It wasn't cost effective to run the business. The next step of it was van repairs, van maintenance.
Sure.
We found that from location to location, from driver to driver, some of our locations for some reason had very little in maintenance costs, whereas others had great costs. And at that time we were basing all of our driving and habits and costs in a reactive way.
Okay.
Finding out, well, this city's not doing a good job because look at the bills. Well, it would have been nice to know why that was happening and be able to be more proactive about it. So that's when we started thinking, maybe there's a way we can improve that through some form of tracking, and just systems of guys coming in telling someone drive better, drive slower, drive smarter is one thing, but actually being able to watch them is another one entirely.
Fantastic. Now, earlier before we started recording, we talked about systems, and you're really big on Canadian Property Stars that the business is systematized, so it has tell me, in 15 seconds or so, what is it that you do to make a system in your business? What are your philosophies for that?
Well, in business, I could be great at cutting hair, or let's say aerating a lawn or sealing a driveway personally.
Right.
I could go in and become self-employed and do it myself, and the way I do it would be the way I do it.
Right.
To run a business, to run anything of size and leverage, you need a system. You need to be able to create a system where I take you and put a certain amount of training into you and then plug you into one of my systems, and then my business operates. So we try to take our business every step of the way, whether it be our sales platforms, how we drive our van, how we inspect our vans, to our tracking and everything else, how do we pay our staff. And we try to create a system, and I learned that based on studying the McDonald's model.
Yes.
They became the largest franchise company in the world based on, from A to Z, they have everything in their business systematized. So right from the beginning, as I started my business, we said, okay, how can we take this, how can we systematize it so that I can have someone else do my job? And as we were able to get stronger in those areas, our business grew.
I just read an article where in Success Magazine they talk about building wealth, real wealth, is about giving 10x quality and improvements to many, many, many people.
Correct.
So being able to take that. When you look at where Canadian Property Stars was before you started using GPS tracking, if we talk about the top 3 things that were irritating that you wanted to control, what does GPS tracking do for you? First of all, tell us what Canadian Property Stars does, and then after that, tell us those top 3 things that were frustrating you, and then we'll ask you what the system does of GPS tracking to either reduce it or eliminate it.
Okay.
What do you guys do?
Well, we're a direct sales company in the property maintenance industry.
Right.
So in a nutshell, we are a business that recruits college and university students, trains them on direct sales of core aeration in the spring, and in the summer driveway sealing or window cleaning based on the province we're in. The business model, our intellectual property that makes us so powerful is our methodology on recruiting, as well as our sales practices and our marketing model. So we have a business that works. The stumbling blocks, the hurdles we had to come over is how to compensate our staff in the way we want to and still make the business profitable at the size we are at. And the problems we were coming into were gas cost, maintenance cost of our fleet. So and when you get a fair sized fleet, if there's a few little things that you can improve on, it makes a huge difference in the end. And that's where we felt that, some form of tracking system would be, and it just turned out the timing when you approached us was right when we were in the midst of discussing it, so it was a perfect fit.
How many vehicles are you running on the road today?
You'd be able to tell us probably a better idea on that, but I believe we're somewhere between 60 and 70.
73.
73 vans,
73
there you go.
vans,
So you know my business.
Yeah,
There you go.
73. So without sharing your private financial information, give me an idea. I know at your boot camp the other day when I was there, you had 60 plus managers, and you talked about the money that you spent. You said that you had the year before X amount of dollars, and the next year your gasoline had gone down by a certain amount. So you have 73 vehicles on the road.
Correct.
With that, and we don't have to give everybody your dollars, but the first year without it, and then the second year, what was the difference?
The difference if you look at it in a nutshell, it's hard to put an exact dollar figure on it, only because you could argue that we drove less distance or we didn't go as hard in certain areas, but the GPS to go system obviously is tracking their hard braking, their cornering, their acceleration, their top speeds and things like this. When you can improve everyone's driving through accountability, automatically that's going to reduce your gas costs. When you go an entire year and do not have one fender bender and literally no vehicle accidents, when you can take a company that had them here and there to almost to zero, you're going to have now repair cost savings, you're going to have insurance cost savings, you're going to have a lot of secondary expenses that you don't really tie to it in reality are saving on it. So on a whole, I'd say for sure 20 to 30% savings when you factor in, and that savings could be anywhere from a one-man show who has his own vehicle, or one employee could be saving him maybe $10,000, but to a company my size it could be $200,000-300,000 annually.
An investment of 73 devices and your monthly fees, it starts to give you anywhere from a 5 to a 10 times ratio of savings for every buck you spend. When we look at that again, it's if it's 35 a month, we're giving that person 350 back. If it's 20 times, 30 times, it depends on the industry.
If the vans are in use, sometimes there's a good portions of the years where my vans aren't in use. We're seasonal, but when we're using them a lot. So I would say for sure between 5 and 10 times the cost of the actual product. And any business owner looking at something like this, it's not just the cost you have to worry about. It's also your commercial vehicle rating, your insurance premiums, and just the visibility of your business in the community. When you've got guys who don't care and aren't being tracked,
Right.
they can drive the way they're used to. Whereas guys that work with our company, they don't have the opportunity, even if they wanted to drive a certain way, we're getting an email if they accelerate too fast.
Fantastic.
Right? So
Or the beeping inside the
and,
vehicle.
or the beeping in the van.
You mentioned that the
you
other
can't
day.
you can't think straight if you've got a siren going off. So what happens is automatically you become a better driver, and that's going to save anyone money.
More conservative, bringing their driving habits right down into the middle. I had mentioned that I wanted to ask you this, and I want to wrap up on this. Businesses that I deal with, I have self-storage businesses that dominate their industry. I have tow truck companies that are tops in their field. I have the world's largest maid house cleaning service that uses our product. CPS is dominating your industry.
Yes.
And again, what struck me funny when I asked you, what is it you do? You didn't say we seal driveways, we wash windows, we do these things. You said we are a
Direct sales company.
direct sales company.
Yeah.
Which I love that, because you know that's what we do. But what are the top 3 things that Ben Stewart, as the CEO, what are the top 3 things that other business owners, managers that look at this, if you said, I want to be more successful and I want to do more with my company, what are the top 3 strategies you give them?
Okay. If you want to grow your company,
Yes.
think about your staff first.
Okay.
The biggest issue I've seen with business owners, small business owners, because I do consulting for fun with them, is they think about their own pockets. So if the focus is always how am I going to save money, how am I going to have less employee cost, how am I going to have these things, your biggest asset to any business, to any growth, is your people.
Your people.
So the first way I would say is find a way to pay more to your staff than any of your competitors, or take care of them in other ways, right? So as an owner myself, I do my very best to get my direct sales staff at the door, getting paid as much as possible in a competitive way, and for my managers, we try to do the same thing with a compensation, but more importantly, I try to be there as a mentor to them for their own personal development, and so that would bring me to my second point. If I'm going to be investing in something this year, my management will know about it.
Yes.
So I'm not going to just make money in a business, have them work and develop my business, and then just go and take these funds and do something with it when they could be a part of that as well.
Okay.
So for the personal development, I'd recommend any other business owner, your staff, your management, your employees at any level can only be as strong as you are. So if you expect your staff to walk straight, you need to walk straight. And so for small business owners or people who are running a small crew or large crew, I mean, leadership is everything. Be a top-down leader. That would be my second my second one. I run a business that is built on ethics, motivation, extremely hard work, dedication to your craft of sales and whatever we're doing. So if I'm not that person, how is my manager going to be that person? If my manager is not that person, how is my staff not going to be that? Because we run a very difficult business. The third step to being successful is now that you're taking care of your staff, you're leading your business correctly, you get an opportunity to grow. In order to grow, you must be systematized from top to bottom. And I'd recommend reading up on Michael Gerber,
Yes.
the E-Myth Mastery, things like this. This is one of the many books that I read and studied on building systems within your business to grow it. So hopefully those 3 will help some people out.
Love that. Fantastic advice. Well, Ben Stewart, Canadian Property Stars, thank you
so
very much.
All right.
I'm Russ Sallow with GPS to Go. Now you know.